Malik, hi, what's all this?
It's a roadmap that the Ministry of Energy has drawn up with the support of the European Union.
European Union?
Maria, my sister, I witnessed something extraordinary. A vision of Kenya's future powered by green hydrogen. Picture this, Maria. Our country has an abundance of renewable energy sources. Geothermal, wind, solar, and they're like the keys to unlocking a cleaner, brighter future. Renewable energy to power our homes, schools, and even our industries without the harmful emissions. But there's something even more incredible that they can do. Green hydrogen, Maria. It is the building block for a brighter future. And we can create it using our abundant renewable energy, energy to fuel heavy industries, long-distance transportation, and more, all without a trace of planet-destroying emissions. Our farms can thrive like never before. We can use green hydrogen to produce clean fertilizer right here. Made in Kenya fertilizer, tailored for our soil, boosting our yields and securing our food production. Imagine a Kenya where fields stretch as far as the eye can see, powered by our own energy, our own innovation. More importantly, green hydrogen means new jobs, investments, opportunities for our youth and future generations. In the next 10 years, my sister, we're looking at over 25,000 jobs, over $1 billion of investment, and a chance for Kenya to shine.
I now understand. I see our beloved country Kenya leading the way to a cleaner, more prosperous world.
Good afternoon. We are live. We are on EU in Kenya, Facebook, and YouTube. My name is Olivia Otieno, joining you from the Sarova Imperial in Kisumu County. We are here, and as they say, Karibu Kisumu, Karibu Dala. We are hosting a Generation Green Talk session that is highlighting opportunities for green jobs for the youth in the Lake region. You're going to hear from Her Excellency Henrietta Geiger, the European Union Ambassador to Kenya. You'll hear from county representatives. You'll hear from business owners. You'll hear from entrepreneurs. You'll hear from young people. You'll hear about success. You'll hear about challenge. You'll hear about struggle, but you'll also hear about triumph. Now, without further ado, I would like to welcome you all to this Generation Green Talks with an audience made up of students from 3 universities in the Lake region. We have Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology, we have Maseno University, and we have the Great Lakes University of Kisumu. Welcome once again. I would like to introduce our distinguished panel comprising of Her Excellency Henrietta Geiger, the European Union Ambassador to Kenya. We have Charles Odira, founder Mix of Food and Beverages. We have the Deputy Governor of Kisumu County, who has just joined us as well, Dr. Matthews Owili. We have Newton Owino, founder Allison Products, Development and Design. We have Valerie Awar from KenGen. She is a mechanical engineer. Noreen Wambui, Executive Director of Dada EPZ. Thomas Oko, a Kisumu County Directorate of Tourism representative. And of course, Helen Talbot, founder and lead designer of Ellen Design. Felix Magugu, Investment and Entrepreneurships Development at KCIC. And Eunice Ndegwa, who is the proprietor and beneficiary of one of the European Union sponsored projects called AgriBiz. They are our implementing partners. KCIC, her name is Eunice Ndegwa, and she produces Brea honey. Her bees are actually from Migori, and she guarantees that they're actually very, very delicious honey. They are poly bees, meaning that they're not from a single plant, but however, they do go to different plants. So without further ado, I would like to welcome you all, students, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, honored guests, Your Excellency. This is Generation Green Talks. The hashtag is Generation Green and hashtag EU in Kisumu. A round of applause for Her Excellency to give our keynote welcome remarks.
Dear all, ladies and gentlemen, students from different universities and all, should I get up? Yes. and all those who listen to us this afternoon. It has been very important for me to try to engage with as many young people as possible here in Kenya. I'm the EU ambassador, European Union ambassador in Kenya. And you may know that the European Union is right now going through a very, very important transition process. So we're transiting our entire economy into a green economy. And we have to do that whilst at the same time guaranteeing jobs and growth. We have 27 member states. We have a common market of around 400 million consumers, and we have many livelihoods to protect. But first and foremost, we have to protect everybody's life. And our lives are endangered globally by climate change. You have seen that here in Kenya with the drought. This was not a normal drought, and it's probably not the last one. And after drought follows flood, follows drought, etc. So globally, we're trying to achieve the limitation of global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is catastrophic. Catastrophic, but this is our goal. How crazy is that? So 1.5 degrees Celsius has already very important impacts on the environment. And it's not only impacting here in Kenya, it's impacting in the whole world. So it's about drought, floods, it's about coastal cities going under, it's about whole islands disappearing. I have worked also before in the Pacific. There are several islands that are already being evacuated, have to be abandoned. So in any case, we have to do what we can. I have 2 daughters, young adult daughters, and they tell me, it's all your fault. Yes, it's all our fault. It's the fault of our generation and the generations before us. But what does it help? We have to deal with the situation as we have now, try to correct, mitigate, and save what we can to save the planet. Now, we did some surveys in Kenya, and there we found out that young people are not really concerned about climate change, or at least it was not on the top of their lists of concerns. And I do understand all of you are students. You're struggling to get through your curriculum. Maybe you have to have some employment on the side. I did the same. I studied and worked, and I know it is very hard to study while working. So maybe you have somebody in your family to support or other concerns. So many people think, well, first I need to look at my basic needs, and then we'll look at other stuff. So my concern is that whilst we're all looking at other stuff, this is happening. So whilst we're busy with our own concerns and lives, climate change is happening, and it's impacting all of us. We don't know exactly how, but Kenya is a very young population. So most of Kenyans are young, maybe even under 18, or in your case, maybe a little bit over 18. So the idea is that you will be in the driving seat. You will be the leaders of this country. So it depends on you what Kenya will do on this and how Kenya will react and mitigate and adjust. So, your leadership some years ago decided to embark on a green path to try to make Kenya a more resilient and a greener country and transform your economy into a sustainable one. And the EU has decided to support Kenya in this. Actually, Kenya is in many areas already quite advanced. For example, you are already over 90% of renewable energy in your energy mix. You're right on the top of countries in the world with this. Very few countries in the world achieved 100%, and Kenya will achieve that in the next couple of years. So there's a lot going on already, and when Olivia was telling me about all the panelists, I got very excited to hear what they are doing. What we're trying to do is to prove that a green transition can create jobs and growth. So you can do climate mitigation and at the same time have economic growth. But I'm here basically because I want to hear from you. I want to hear what your concerns are. I'm sure there's lots of talent here, and maybe the discussion we have this afternoon is stimulating your thoughts also and gives you some new ideas. I will stop here, and of course we are all there for answering your questions if you have any. But thank you for coming this afternoon. By coming, you're already showing your openness and your concern. So I hope that you don't think after this discussion that you wasted your time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. We are in the middle of Kisumu Tourism Week, and the theme for the week is tourism and green investments. We are fortunate to have with us the Deputy Governor, Dr. Owili, who I would really like to say a few words with regards to this. I know that you are an academic as well, and therefore it is important for you to address these very, very passionate young minds.
Thank you, Olivia. This is probably, I think, the third function that the EU ambassador to Kenya is attending in the county today, but probably the most important one. And I want to welcome you once again among the next big thing and the next generation that must make stuff work, not just in Kenya, but all over the world. And just like you've been told, this has been a very busy week for us. We've been having what we call Kisumu Tourism Week. And today is the climax of what we've been doing in the last 5 days. And Her Excellency here was our chief guest. But allow me now to welcome all of you, the young people of Kisumu, on behalf of the governor, into the county. I know that some of you are coming from out of the county, but within the region. Now, we've been talking about climate change. In the last 2 weeks, our country was hosting what we call Africa Climate Change Summit. Now, during that week, Kisumu was hosting the only sideline meeting, okay? And we were trying to domesticate and to think about our environment in regard to what is now the talk, not just in Kenya, not just in Africa, but in the whole world. So we are talking about mitigation of climate change, we are talking about sustainability, and we are talking about investments. And within this team, we have some three important people for the county of Kisumu in their own disciplines. And they'll be given an opportunity to be able to share with you what they are doing to make a difference in their surrounding and to ensure that whatever it is that they are doing is not harmful to the environment and that is sustainable in the long run. But the challenge for the young people, and I want to thank the EU for this opportunity, is to sit together and to bounce ideas on each other and to innovate for purposes of ensuring that we have a strong foundation and that we grow our economy for purposes of making this world a better place for all of us to live. So mine is just to welcome you, and I've told you that in the county of Kisumu, we already have a team that will be speaking on behalf of the county, but I'm looking forward to hearing what the students from Great Lakes University, from Maseno, and from Jaramogi University of Science and Technology are going to share here. But the underlying word is that we must be very, very innovative. Without innovation, we will not be able to move this world to the next level. I thank you, Olivia.
Thank you, DG. I'm also very interested in hearing what the students have to say. I would like to know your name, the university you're from, and what your core area of study is.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Muthoni Mbogo. I am from Great Lakes University. I have just finished my 4 years, and I'm so much blessed and very happy to join these brilliant minds here to just get knowledge and know what climate change is all about and the green movement. Thank you.
What was your core area of study?
I was doing Bachelor's of Science in Physiotherapy.
Ah, yeah, my back. We will talk. We will. Have you heard of the Erasmus Scholarship Program? Show of hands, who's heard of Erasmus? Too few, but don't worry. Before we are done, you will hear more about Erasmus. Now, one of the very interesting things that the European Union does is work with implementing partners. Watu kwa ground, watu kwa site. So I would like to welcome a representative from one of those implementing partners. The organization is called KCIC. Anybody heard of KCIC? Show of hands, show of hands, show of hands. Same people. Yeah, you're about to hear from them. A gentleman is called Felix Mangugu, and he is in charge of investments. And I would like him to say a few words so that you can understand what this amazing organization is doing to spur entrepreneurship in this region. Felix.
Thank you, Olivia. So, Madam Ambassador and the Deputy Governor of Kisumu, and everybody else, good afternoon. Now, just briefly, the story of KCC is quite long, 11 years old. We have been in the space of entrepreneurship, innovation, or climate change, talk about it, but from a private sector perspective. We have supported over 3,000 enterprises in this country, in Kenya, up to now. And we are very lucky to have partnered with the EU to put up a program called AgriBiz program, which is a 5-year program that we started implementing in 2020. I should have said perhaps my name's Felix because she had problems, pronouncing my second name. Magaju is my second name. I'm the director in charge of investments and entrepreneurship development. And so in the AgriBiz program, the program was meant to support 2,400 women and youth enterprises in the country. And the infrastructure that we put in place is to have 8 incubation hubs, looking at the former provinces. And we have one in Kisii that is looking at this region. We have one in Bungoma that is looking at the Western Kenya. We have one in Uasin Gishu that is looking at the Rift Valley. We have one in Kiambu looking at the Central Province. Meru is there looking at the Upper region. Isiolo looking at the northern frontier counties. Then we have Machakos looking at the Kamba region and Kajiado. And finally, we have one in Kilifi that is looking at the youth and enterprises based in the former coastal region. Now, one of the things perhaps I wanted to put across, because she said that I just need to briefly talk about KCAC, is it's a great opportunity for the young people. When I look, Madam Ambassador, the kind of interest that the program has generated, at one point in time we made a call for applications, and in one county alone, we got over 10,000 applications. Over 10,000 applications. And so the demand for KCAC support in terms of business and incubation, in terms of business advisory, in terms of access to finance, is quite huge. And I think for me, it's a good thing to be able to be in the midst of young people looking for opportunities to be able to play a part in a private sector way along the value chain of climate change. So we won't be happy. We are having a call for applications that is coming up actually in the month of October, end of October, November. And I think even before I go there, next week, I think is going to put this one across so that everybody can be able to participate if you can. We are holding the first big investment summit in Kenya for climate tech enterprises. We'll be having so many rooms. We have so many investors coming with the support, of course, from the EU and other partners. And we would encourage you that you can be able to make it. It's also a good opportunity for you to learn because you are able to meet a couple of investors, understand their language, understand what they need. For example, if you have an idea. And so KCIC supports high-stage companies and SMEs in 5 sectors. That is renewable energy, agribusiness, commercial forestry, water, and renewable energy. So, and commercial forestry. Allow me to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felix. Really appreciate it. So I have 2 options now. I can either go to the president of the African Development Bank, or I can go to Jay-Z. How many hands up for the African Development Bank president and Jay-Z? Okay. So Jay-Z is over there. Yeah? Now, Botai here is the president of African Development Bank. So, you know, both very successful in their own right, right? Very, very successful. So I see them both taking very serious notes. I'm just having some feedback. Please come through, because there's a feedback situation happening. Take the mic. Give me your name, your institution, and your core area of study.
Thank you. My name is Edwin Odera Okini. I'm a student in Great Lakes University. I'm taking Bachelor of Science in Clinical Medicine.
Fantastic. You said you had not heard of the Erasmus Plus program.
Yes?
You had not heard of Erasmus Scholarship Program.
Yes.
You will hear about it today. Should we
Thank
give
you.
Jay-Z a chance? Yes, we should definitely do that. You're also taking some very serious notes. So tell us your name, because it's not Jay-Z, your area of study, and your institution of higher learning.
Good afternoon. I'm Collins Mwanda. I'm studying in Maseno.
Not to journalism, because the mic needs to be here, and not Jay-Z, because Jay-Z would know where the mic needs to go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm from Maseno University, and my course is fisheries and aquaculture.
Fisheries and agriculture.
Yeah,
There's
aquaculture.
aquaculture.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman here who produces fish leather. Yeah, some amazing products from fish leather. So I'm sure you're going to get some knowledge today.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. And speaking of getting some knowledge today, I would like to go to one of our other panelists. And one of the most important things is that you get your questions ready, so that if there's a break in between, I can come to you, you can ask your question, we'll get to understand who you are, where you're from, and what your core area of interest is. Now, he's already done the introduction for me, right? I hardly need to do the introduction, Newton, do I? Right? One of our first panelists, we will be also talking to a gentleman from the tourism, from Kisumu, but since it's come up already, I would like to hand the mic over to you so that you can introduce yourself and just talk about the fish leather aspect. The rest of it, we'll come to it. Don't worry, I got you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Newton Owino. I'm running a fish leather tannery here in Kisumu. It's based somewhere called Mambuleo. This tannery is now 16 years old, and it all began when we realized that there was plenty of fish waste along the lake. When I started the business, we had almost 9 floating industries, and they were disposing of close to 150,000 metric tons of fish waste. And this was all going back to the lake, destroying the lake, causing what we call eutrophication, enriching the water, and all of a sudden we realized we had also plenty of water hyacinth and many other things. Well, when I looked at all these problems, being a leather chemist by profession, in Kisumu we do not really have enough abattoirs that could sustain a tannery, because not so many people are actually slaughtering cows around here, so it was very difficult to run a tannery. But then I realized, I could do this through these fish filleting industries because they were throwing away all this waste. Now, the other challenge that I had was actually, Kisumu is the backbone economy of Kisumu is fish farming. Now, I could not use the conventional way of tanning, that is the use of toxic chemicals, as other tanneries. So I had to go deep again into what we call research. I'm a research innovator also. So I had to find out what exactly could I do to minimize the pollution, not to use the chemicals. Now I had to identify a number of plant compounds within Kisumu. One of them is actually banana plants. We had sunnin from cassava. And we had a number of plants growing here in Kisumu that contains pigments, plant pigments that I could extract as dyes. So I moved into this, and then I engaged a number of farmers, trained them on how to plant these crops, and also supply me with these materials for tanning. At the same time, I thought my business could get into the level that we call social enterprise. So I had to engage women. Most of these filleting industries were adjacent to one of the major slums in Kisumu called Obunga. Now, these residents had no connection at all with these industries because, these are food stuff. So I had to link them up by actually getting this waste, training 350 women on how they could do what we call the pre-tanning operations, removal of scales, removal of flesh, and all those. Then they sell them to me again so that they also earn a living. Now, at my place, I also had another challenge that, in Kenya, we do not really have, even up to now, we do not have institutions that offers what we call eco-tanning. Now, I had to produce my own eco-tanners. I was actually poaching students from a number of universities who are offering leather courses, like University of Nairobi, Dedan Kimathi University, and Ahiti Kabete. I was offering them internship. Then, in the process, changing their mindset so that they forget about the chemical way of tanning and using the plant's compounds. So that way, I moved on, and finally, through European Union, with their support, to a number of programs at UN, that is Switch Africa Green, I was adopted, and I managed to get a number of clients in Europe. Currently, we are still supplying them. That is in Iceland, in Denmark. All those are my clients, whom we are supplying to date. Even right now, as we speak, I'm going to represent the country in what we call Switch Africa Green in Mauritius. That is on Monday. And that is because of the technology that we are using. We are using what we call the principles of clean production based on green chemistry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Extremely passionate and extremely passionate. I'm looking for students from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Are there any here? Are there any? Okay, great, there's one here. Since I know your institution, your name and area of study, please.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Derek Odhiambo. I'm a student at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. I'm a third year doing ICT, Information Communication Technology. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for that. I would now like to talk to a lady from Kengen. Has she arrived? Oh, fantastic. She's a mechanical engineer. One of the most fascinating things about Kengen is the number of women within the organization. It might shock you. And I would like to welcome you, please, your full name. Tell us a little bit of the history of what you studied and, of course, the work you currently do at Kengen.
So my name is Valerie. Yes. My name is Valerie Awur. a mechanical engineer at KenGen. A short history, yes. My undergraduate was actually mechatronic engineering, but now I'm practicing as mechanical engineer.
A show of hands, how many people are familiar with mechatronic engineering? Okay, tell us what that is. It's not just me.
Yes, mechatronic engineering is an amalgamation of mechanical, electrical engineering, some computer science. The aim is to get into automation. Yes, so that is basically
Professor
what
is nodding enthusiastically. Yes, yeah,
that's
continue.
basically, in short, what mechatronic engineering is about. Yes, but now I'm a mechanical engineer at KenGen. Yes.
With the understanding of the work that you do, and of course climate action, global warming, climate change, and this drive that we're currently experiencing for renewable energy, where do you see these young minds who we're trying to influence having a position within KenGen as an organization?
KenGen as an organization has a generation mix of both renewable energy and some thermal energy, but there is an increasing drive to go green, and so we are developing more on green energy sources and trying to limit the thermal energy sources. So I have had a student from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga who is doing ICT. We also need ICT people in our company because we work with them, those in finance, those in supply chain, procurement, not just the technical courses. We work with all these various departments, so they all have a place in this drive to enhance the renewable energy.
You can tell the journalism major and the mechanical engineer. Thank you. Thank you very much. Round of applause, please, for her. Because this is a week to do with tourism, I would like to welcome a representative from the county who will be talking about tourism and Generation Green in general, green investments, green innovation. Thomas Oko, the mic is yours.
Thank you very much, High Excellency and Your Excellency. My name is Thomas Oko. I work for the Great County Government of Kisumu in the Directorate of Tourism, and I stand here to represent the docket of tourism. We are celebrating the Tourism Week, which is ending today with the celebration of the United Nations World Tourism Day. And as such, as my senior most in the county government present in the room, His Excellency Dr. Matthew Zawili has mentioned, the county government of Kisumu provides an enabling environment for investors, for entrepreneurs, and for innovators. The government is never in business, but to ensure that the people driving the business are always there at that point. When we are celebrating the United Nations World Tourism Day, the theme for this year was tourism and green investment, investing in people, planet, and prosperity. As such, Kisumu Tourism Week started on Saturday, where we were focusing on the greening initiative. And the greening initiative focused on planting of trees and ensuring that we reduce the carbon emission in our environment, and also ensuring that our planet is clean. Currently, the county government of Kisumu, as such, is promoting agribusiness, and as we speak now, His Excellency the Governor of the Great County Government of Kisumu launched in the plug Mtaani for our entrepreneurs, and it is open to the public. And this is an initiative between the county government and the national government, where there is an award of up to 10 million towards the sales. As regards to the same, Madam Olivia, we are looking at the linkages between the aspect of the tourism and the market that we create as regards to that. Research and Innovation Center, we have that at the Rotary in Kisumu County, and we're actually creating that for our youth as regards to that. Lastly, the diversification along our biggest resource, Lake Victoria, supports up to 250 million to 440 million along the River Nile all the way to the sea. And we are trying as much as possible to diversify entrepreneurship, not only in fishing, but also the businesses around the lake region at that point. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas Oko. Are there any design students here? Anybody in design? Okay. Anybody in textile manufacturing? Anybody studying anything along those lines? Wow, there's so many opportunities for you, aren't there? Right? Okay. How many have heard of Dada EPZ? Show of hands. No, you're not allowed. You are with, no, just kidding. Fantastic. Okay, so I'd like to welcome a representative from Dada EPZ. I was very excited to hear about Dada EPZ, and they were actually showcasing at the sports ground this afternoon. So Noreen, welcome. The mic is yours. Tell us about yourself and this amazing organization and how these students can plug into Dada EPZ.
Right. Thank you, Olivia. Your Excellency, His Excellency, guests, and esteemed visitors, because I think you're the esteemed visitors. Good afternoon. All right, my name is Noreen Wamboi, and I'm representing Dada EPZ today. My friend Mercy will tell you I wear a lot of hats. I'm sure she walked in and was very surprised. Dada EPZ is based at Riat area. Riat area is opposite the airport. Dada EPZ has a beautiful story. The proprietor launched it last year. It was officiated by His former Excellency, the former president, opened its doors in August. So the investor had started business in 1985, and as you know, through the years, she realized that there's the need to invest back home. And had been in the Mtumba business, which was facing upheavals. And then came the bright idea of transitioning into the export. And most of the suggestions that she received was open one in Athi River or open one within Nairobi. But she adamantly said no, because she hails from Riat area, the same area opposite the airport. And being knowledgeable of the stories of the young girls, you know, who do not get opportunities, it seemed more ideal. So upon the opening of the doors, she has been able to produce for the local market, still not yet getting export, but I am anticipating to be getting that soon. She has received, her and her team have received great support from the great county of Kisumu. And we must say, doing business in Kisumu is good. So, generally, the first people who get a priority are the young girls, because remember, you know, due to getting children early childhood pregnancies, sorry, most of the girls, their education is curtailed, right? But Dada EPZ gives you a second chance. So whether you have certification, whether you're at university level or have no documents, they have partnered also with Kisumu Polytechnic to come and do on-site certification. And in terms of greening, also working closely with Moi University, who together with UNEP have a program on eco-innovation. Of course, some of the suggestions of going green, you must agree with me, Her Excellency, are quite expensive. But you know, trying to make do with tailor-made solutions just to be able to move to the next level. So we are very proud of Dada EPZ, and the county is also very proud of us because of what you show us, you know, in your actions. We've been able to employ 300 youths constantly, and when busy, the number tops to 800. So busy is good, right? So whoever has business ideas, send them our way. And for the young ladies and gentlemen are not locked out. For the youths who are seeking a career in textile manufacturing, opposite the airport, there's a home for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the ambassador will need to leave. Anybody for questions for Her Excellency before she leaves? Just a show of hands. Show of hands, show of hands. Up so I can see them. No, she doesn't need to leave. Keep your questions, and we need more. Bado wako, yeah? I'm not fukuzing her. I just wanted to know if you're awake ama ulilala after that. It was a nice lunch. Thank you so much, Sarova Imperial. It was very delicious. So we'll be getting from textiles to design in a second, but first, I'd like to welcome another gentleman. His name is Charles Sadira, and he's from Mixer Food and Beverages. And yesterday he was like, Olivia, please, when you're captioning my business name, it is not A-N-D, it is the and sign, all right? So please, director, it is the and sign. It is Mixer and sign, yeah? Charles Sadira, welcome.
Thank you very much, Olivia. Maybe I would want to make an addition. In this part of the country, we are very proud. So if it is A-N-D, it is A-N-D. If it is a symbol, it is the symbol. And we want to maintain it like that. Just like Olivia said, my name is Charles Odira, EU Ambassador, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor. Sometimes back they told me, if you can't introduce it very well, then say all protocols observed. So all protocols observed. I am Charles Odira, and I'm a proprietor of a business called Mixer Foods and Beverages. When I started Mixer Foods and Beverages, it had different agenda. But as time went by, needs arose, and it has been evolving to accommodate what we have now. And I am happy that in front of me we have so many youth. I was once a youth so many years ago, but I didn't have this opportunity that you people have now. And I would love you to really take it seriously, because what we are saying here, for me, what I'm going to tell you, if I knew at your age, I would be very far. But now you are here, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, Mixer Foods and Beverages, we realized that there are some challenges. Long ago, when I was young, we'd go to the farm and use oxen to plow. We'd go and plow physically using our hands. But now, I'm very sure the people I'm seeing in front of me will not take any of that. And then again, I know that we are having issues with food security in this country. This has to be solved, but with the youth who are going to take over from us, afraid to take jembes, what do? So Mixer Foods thought of a way of making the youth to engage in agriculture passively in that they don't have to use those gadgets. We came up, we innovated a number of equipment that you can use in agriculture. For example, we are promoting what we call the walking tractor, which once you go to the field, the same tractor is able to plow for you, the same tractor is able to plant for you and put fertilizer at the same time. When you are done, you come again with what we call a weeder, which we have innovated. So you just move through, and in an hour, you are done with an acre. Only one person. When you are done, when you need to do your crop protection, you simply use equipment which you just point at the crops, and they are sprayed very effectively. So we have a number of equipment that we have innovated, and then we are collaborating with agriculture technology development centers throughout the country, and where we have a shortfall, they help us, and vice versa. Now, usually, when there is food on the table and money in the pocket, we don't have many problems. You will realize that many times at homes, I know we all come from homes, when fighting erupts, it's usually when there is no money. But these interventions I'm talking about will put money in the pockets of farmers, and everybody needs a farmer 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, and supper. So there is no reason as to why farmers should not be rich. I'm advocating for rich farmers in this country. Now, the other thing which we do at Mixer Foods is also to manufacture equipment that will add value to agricultural produce. For example, if you are producing peanuts, then you sell it as it is. Most of the money you shall have left to the processor. So we came up with simple equipment that will help to add value so that maybe you can produce peanut flour, you can produce peanut butter, and these are all natural. And nowadays people are running away from overprocessed foods. So there's a lot of opportunity in that area. And just to have a leakage for you, we have a facility where we process about 2.5 tons of peanuts in 1 week. But the sad news is that all the peanuts come from either Uganda or Tanzania. And I've always asked myself, what is wrong with my country, Kenya? I come from Ndewa, for those who know Ndewa. And when you look at the map, when you look at the history, Ndewa is a peanut producing country. Division. But if you went there to buy 1 sack of peanuts, they will tell you, come after 1 week. And they will give you assorted varieties in that sack. But if you go to Tanzania, it is your money that will be limiting you. So there is a lot of opportunity in that area, and I dare tell the youth that this money I'm taking outside, I want it to remain here in Kenya and uplift your standards of leading. At Mixer Foods, something else also came up because climate change is real. So we looked at when our sources of proteins are these animals which are also very destructive to the environment, then we decided to have another source of protein, which are crickets. Yes, you heard me right. It depends on where you come from. It is not cricket the game, it is cricket the insect. That one that makes noise at night. Believe you me, if you go to Asian country, that is a delicacy. And it gives you a lot of proteins. Some of the amino acids that you get from crickets are rare. And just by eating crickets alone, you shall have prevented a lot of diseases coming your way. So we are doing cricket farming. Along with cricket farming, we also have black soldier fly. Some of you may be hearing this for the first time. And for those who don't know, especially the black soldier fly, there are some flies that lay insects, will lay eggs. Once they lay eggs, the eggs hatch into larvae, and the larvae is now the catch. Because the larvae is able to convert waste into a useful product. If you get your chicken eating the black soldier fly larvae, then your chicken will have 3 important benefits. Number 1, benefits for you, not for the chicken. They will lay bigger eggs. The eggs will be uniform. The eggs will have hard shells, and then it will also have yellow yolk. Who else does not want those characteristics in eggs? And if your eggs are like that, and you are a farmer, then believe you me, you don't have to go to the market. They will say, okay, once you start supplying, they won't like the other one you brought last time. But for you, you know it came from Mixer. Then people will now be coming to Mixer, and you will be charging higher because it's in demand. And just so that you know, my basic study was horticulture. I've not had Egerton here, but that was my university. Then I went for another one at JKUAT. I've also never had JKUAT here. But when I was at JKUAT, I actually came out with nothing during my postgraduate studies, except one. I wondered why I wasted those years. But what I came up with from the university was, if you are selling something, there is someone else who is also selling the same thing. So why should they buy yours and not the other one? And I think that has made me a better person, because every time I'm doing any business, I have to answer that question. The youth who are here, that question is very important for you. They say there are no jobs in Kenya, and I want to challenge you, the jobs are there. Only you have to change your attitude and answer that question, which took me 2 years to learn. Once you have a product which people cannot run away from, look at when you are talking about a product, a detergent, many people will say, I want Omo. When they are talking about the other one, it's not really Omo. What they mean is just they need a detergent, but they call it Omo. So establish that name, and it is not difficult to establish that name. So I was saying the black soldier fly will help you manage waste, and it will also help you in creating wealth, because if you feed something on almost nothing, because the waste you can get from the municipal markets and they will thank you for it, then you feed your chicken, you can also feed your fish on them. The other aspect in Mixer Foods, and this is in collaboration with the county government, is training. We realized that, you will correct me if I'm wrong, and I know I'm not wrong, when you people go to school, you come out with a piece of paper called certificate. They call it a certificate. But usually that is where your shortcomings come from, because you value that paper more than yourself. So when you come to Mixer and you find other people that don't have that paper, then you start boasting around. But these people you find here have practical knowledge that they can use to convert into money in the pocket. Many times I have students coming from the local universities, trained in agriculture. They already have the certificate. They come for internship. But that is when you are shocked that the person knows nothing. In the same agriculture we are talking about. I'm not talking about a doctor being told to do something in agriculture. So at Mixer, we rail you back to the practicalities of life, that when you are a graduate in agriculture, then this is now how you do it physically. And when you do it physically, that is when someone will feed on the product. I'm being told my time is up. As I wind up, I want just to urge the youth that try to give people more of what they want. If you have to give them what they don't want, give them little, if any, of what they will need in future. And there are two things that will make you succeed. Number one, they are simple and easy. Number one, you have to know what you want to do. Number two, you have to do it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A round of applause. We had the president of the African Development Bank. We had Jay-Z. We had the Eric Omondi of business, a.k.a. Charles Odera, Mixer Food and Beverages. A round of applause for him, because now we know that one man's larvae is another man's gold. All right, now we know that one man's larvae, and back the eggs at my house are very yellow, the yolk. Now I'm beginning to wonder. Prof, I think people are thirsty. We have some water that will be sent round, please. Let's get some water. But now let's get some questions. Before I go to an academic, to rebuttal that people are coming out of uni with no knowledge, right? Before we offer this rebuttal from a professor from the University of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Science and Technology, who has a question for any of our panelists thus far? I want to give you the microphone. Oh, I like your shirt. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Your name, your institution, your area of study, and of course your question and who it is directed to.
All protocols observed. Good evening. My name is, good afternoon, I mean. Okay, my name is Fidelity Etabo. I'm from Maseno University. I'm doing a Bachelor of Science in Fisheries and Aquaculture with IT. My question goes directly to our ambassador. Yeah, so my question is about carbon credits. There in the varsity, they have taught us about carbon credits. Someone comes to Africa, he or she, the person, issues out some carbon credits for someone to plant maybe some mangroves. Then that person, when he or she gets back to maybe Europe or America, releases some carbon into the atmosphere. So can I hear how it works practically from our ambassador?
I'm not sure the ambassador is an expert in carbon credits. However, there is an opportunity for her to respond, and in particular, the county would also need to say something on that.
Yeah, carbon credits is a relatively new instrument, but Kenya started very early to embark on that. An organization called Northern Rangeland Trust, NRT, they have started early on to do this in Laikipia and in some other areas. And this basically means polluters somewhere in the world, let's say in Belgium, an industrial plant that has already reduced to the maximum its emissions, but cannot further reduce, but has to achieve a zero emissions goal. What do? They can buy carbon credits from somebody else to get their balance right. So what they do, they go around, look for projects that can be carbon sinks. Carbon sinks is something that absorbs pollution rather than emitting. So nature in general, most of the landscape is actually a carbon sink, but some things are better than others. For example, forests are very good. Cows are very bad, by the way. Cows are big emitters. That's why so many people are becoming vegetarians. So in any case, so the idea is there are organizations that work with carbon credits. So they do community-based projects, and the community is then protecting that space, for example, grazing land or forests, and they get money in exchange. So that is the carbon credit. So the polluting company that cannot further reduce emissions is buying the services of a group or community to protect the environment, and like that they can get their emissions down on paper, of course. So that is the model, and I know that in Kenya the government has big plans. Now in the climate summit they said they want to use the carbon credits massively in Kenya to get money into the country. And in the case of NRT, the carbon credit model I know, the money is being given to the community. So a little bit goes into investment upkeep of the area, and the rest is given to the community, the people who work. And that has given alternative livelihoods to pastoralist groups. So the model internationally, it's not yet 100% developed because the standards, what qualifies as a carbon sink, is not quite established yet. So there are some environmental groups that say this is used for pollution whitewashing. So it is very important that there are international standards, the UN, the World Bank, others work on that. What qualifies as a carbon sink and how much value can you attach to it? So there's still a very wide width of different models, and that has to be unified, but it will be unified very quickly. And the model works, at least the ones I've seen work very well, and the communities are getting money and are happy.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. I think one of those carbon sink projects are black fly larvae. Sorry, I know I'm still stuck on black fly larvae, but it seems to have multiple benefits. Would you like to add something on that, DG, or can we take another question?
I mean, she's been very, very clear, and I hope that we get what it means to trade in carbon credit, because that is the future. And I think for us in our country, the potential is huge. The question is whether we are ready. Thomas was talking about our Kisumu Tourism Week, and we have been urging people to green their environment, to plant trees. And that's the challenge for all of us in our community, in our homes, in our schools, in our universities, so that when finally this is actualized, then we find ourselves ready. Otherwise, it will be another opportunity that may just, bypass us. So that's what I wanted to add.
Any other questions? Raise your hand, please, if you have a question.
Okay, protocol observed. I wish to greet you. Good afternoon. I'm Faith Dorcas from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, taking Bachelor of Education Science with IT. I have a question, though there was no teacher here, so I'm just interested in this sector of the mixed foods and beverages, mixed food and beverages. This question goes to Mr. Odira. I would like to know, he's spoken about the equipment, the working tractors that are in this sector. My main concern here is in that as these tractors and equipments are promoted, in how many counties do this project go on? And in as much as we have peanuts from Tanzania, I think we import some. I don't know, but he will explain that very well. How will we make, let me use the word, how will we improve in this processing of the peanut and the manufacture of the cricket farming, I think, and the black soldier flies? I think I'm just concerned, how can we improve this? How can we improve this? I'm much interested. Thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to put that in a more succinct way so that I think the first question is about the tractors. Maybe you can give us an understanding of their cost, availability, transfer to different markets.
Thank you very much. I would want to say that there are departments of agriculture called Agriculture Technology Development Center, and I touched on it a bit. They are the body that are mandated to spread the word about the working tractors, and I am happy to tell you that almost all the agricultural technology development centers in Kenya, they have the working tractors, and the farmers are free to go and learn about the tractors. But again, we have had an opportunity to work with Kenya climate smart project, KSA project, which has availed some funds to buy this equipment and to give to farmers. But for me, the challenge is, if you know what the tractor can do, but you wait, if you have to wait for someone to give it to you, it may take a long time. So once you know about the tractor, then we can look for ways to afford them, and I'm very sure Equity is usually represented everywhere. Today they are not here, but I'm very sure if you have a good plan, then they will avail the money to make you use the tractor. You also talked about the peanuts. You wanted to know more about it, or what was the question?
So what we will do, we're going to have a Q&A networking session from 4 to 5 p.m. where all panelists will be available for you to dialogue with them one-on-one. We actually haven't gone through our full list of panelists. I'd like to hear from an academic representing Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University, Dr. Professor Sylvain Sabeka.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Good afternoon once again. My name is Professor Sylvain Sabeka. I'm a professor at Jaramogi Oginga University of Science and Technology. So our core mandate as a university is to teach and learn. Our other core mandate is research and community outreach. And I'm happy to note that we've been partnering with Mixer Foods, especially on areas to do with cricket. At our university, we do a lot of research in cricket, and I'm happy to report that as at now we have produced, because of the potentials that Mr. Odera has just talked about, that comes along with the use of cricket. We've gone ahead now to produce some of the biscuits, some of the sweetest biscuits around, made up of crickets. At the same time, we fortified, we have porridge that is fortified with the cricket. You know, cricket is rich in protein. And there are other reasons why human beings, especially adults at his age and our age, should eat a lot of protein. It is very important. Then at the university, our core mandate in research, we do so much research on the mulberry plants. Mulberry plants is also another area that we need to look into, especially when we are looking at the green jobs. Under the mulberry research, we are doing so much research on the sericulture and then the moriculture. And these are some of the areas that young generation, the youth, should put a lot of emphasis in. And once you are engaged in mulberry plantation, I don't think whether you will really want to look for other white-collar jobs, because that is sufficient enough. There's a lot of money that lies behind the mulberry plant. Now, another area, as I conclude, on partnerships and collaborations, I'm happy to note that today, and young people get this seriously, today you're privileged to sit with the EU ambassador. There's so much that is within that embassy. I'm happy to note that they have just talked about the Erasmus. There's so much scholarship in that Erasmus. I know they'll talk about it. But I also want to tell you that as a university, we've benefited through Erasmus Chain Project, that is in agriculture and strengthening our agriculture and community outreach programs through the Erasmus Chain Project. I'm also happy to note that as a university, we've partnered with VLIR. VLIR is an inter-university cooperation between the South and the North. And I'm happy to report that we are partnering with 5 Flemish universities. That is the Free University of Brussels, University of Antwerp, KU Leuven, and Ghent University, for the purposes of strengthening the capacity of our university in various sectors, ranging from natural resource management, transformative agriculture, issues to do with health, that is non-communicable diseases and communicable diseases, issues to do with ICT, and issues to do with the climate change. So that is very important, and those are some of the things that we are doing, and we really want what we lack, especially for the universities this side, as opposed to our colleagues who are at the city center within Nairobi and the rest, the information. There's lack of information that reaches this side, to the extent that when we see you here in Kisumu, we are really privileged and we are glad. Thank you and welcome again. Asante sana, Olivia.
Asante, Professor Becca, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. Now, I'll confess, I'm a vegetarian. But whenever I tell people I'm a vegetarian, they say, chicken. I said, no, I don't eat chicken. But this is fish. I say, no, I don't eat fish. Now they'll be telling me, but this is crickets. So, round of hands. Anybody with a question? You had a question?
Okay, all protocol observed. I have a question basing on mixture foods, where in Kenya, as far as population growth is underway, we have this issue called food security in relation to mixture foods, where there is this emerging kind of conditions related to lifestyle. You have talked about these processed foods. This is the peanut butter that you have really addressed on and you are really emphasized on. As a health practitioner, I want that you can better make a clarification on the benefits and benefits of these foods that are being processed. Another question is about the processed foods again. There is introduction of GMO foods and excessive use of fertilizer in relation to agriculture and aquaculture. So as a long-term dream, where are we heading to in excess of this use of fertilizers? In that conjunction, I have a question related to this use of fertilizer that you are really inputting so that you can make the productivity high. There is a growth of nitrogenous oxides and carbon oxides that lead to acidification of most of the plants within Kisumu. So I wish if I can really get much better information in relation to that.
Sorry, just to clarify, your name, your institution, and your area of study?
Okay, I'm David Ludeki from Great Lake University, undertaking Environmental Health Sciences, Public Health Department.
Okay, so I'll allow Charles to answer one question. The rest you can meet him after during the networking session. We'll have a tea break, maybe coffee break, so that we can all get some pep in our step. But Charles, you can pick one of the questions that was asked and answer that.
Thank you very much. I think maybe you didn't get me very right, because I said our peanut butter has an edge over those processed foods where they put a lot of things to lengthen the shelf life. Number one. Number two, for the sake of time, I didn't elaborate more on the black soldier flies. Actually, what we are advocating for is not really the supply or the introduction of inorganic fertilizer to the farm. When the black soldier fly is harvested, it leaves something which is called frass. And frass is very good manure, organic manure. So we are actually advocating for the reverse. I hope you get that one right.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much. DG, you have a comment?
A quick one, and I thank my brother there for that observation. There is a push to shift from use of inorganic fertilizer to use of organic fertilizer. If you go to the West, for example, you'll go to a store and you'll have food that is grown organically, for lack of a better word, and it fetches quite a bit of price. So right now we are thinking about, we are shying away from indiscriminate use of fertilizer. We are doing soil testing now so that you only fix what is missing. But then generally, the shift now is towards organic fertilizer, not inorganic, which is the reason why you have those fears.
Thank you so much, DG. Just a quick show of hands. How many in the room have heard of green hydrogen? No, you're not allowed. Not the panelists. Green hydrogen. Oh, you're into some tasty treats today. And speaking of tasty treats, I'd like to welcome a lady who flew in especially to speak to you today. She was, I think, 24 hours ago, maybe 35 hours ago, in New York. She had gone to showcase. She had gone to showcase at the UNGA Summit, which is the UN General Assembly. She's also somebody I've come to know and respect quite a lot, and she's responsible for the outfit that I'm wearing today, and most of the times when I'm either on air or at a function. Her name is Helen Tolbert. The organization is Ellen Designs. A round of applause. She is back home where she belongs, and she wants to address you.
Good afternoon, everyone. High Excellency, His Excellency, and like Charles said, all protocols observed. I'm extremely humbled and very happy to be here, and with the youth especially. My reason for saying this is because when I started off when I was very young. I started my business when I was very young, and we almost have a similar story with the Dada EPZ. I started with the Mtumba business and then scaled up to where I am today. 2 years ago, I saw the need to change my business model and to try and practice, to practice, what do we call it? Environmentally safer, to be more aware of environmental changes and those things that affect our environment as we produce design. I'm a fashion designer and I'm the lead designer at Ellen Design. So everybody uses fashion. Things have evolved and nobody no longer walks naked, so all of us have to wear something. So fashion affects each and every person in this room. And fashion, I must say, is one of the most pollutants. It comes second to oil, I think so. As we all know, most fabrics are made from plastic, and therefore causing a lot of pollution in the environment. Allow me to read. The fashion industry is incredibly harmful to the planet. Second only to oil, the industry is one of the largest polluters, responsible for 20% of global industrial water pollution. It comes as a surprise to many that most clothes are actually made of plastic, creating a microplastic disaster in the making. Add to that, thousands of harmful chemicals used in the textile mills around the world, which are dangerous to both the environment and the people working with them, and the time has come for global change in the industry. That change must come in the form of sustainable fashion. I'm glad to say that in my journey of changing to sustainable fashion 2 years ago, I discovered an industry in Nairobi that produces fabric made from wool. And this particular industry allows us to take back our waste, which they use to make blankets. The blankets you see kids going to Form 1 with or boarding school with, yes, they are made from remnants of the fabric that we use. And Olivia here decided to be my walking mannequin today, wearing one of our designs made from one of the fabrics that are upcycled and recycled. And she's proudly wearing an outfit made from our Kenyan flag. This is one of the outfits that I showcased in New York. It's part from a collection that I hold dear called the Safari Collection. And this is aimed at promoting, apart from Kenyan tourism, also enlightening people about made in Kenya and what Kenya has to offer. Thank you so much, Olivia. And I would like to encourage the youth especially to embrace environmental change and ways of saving the environment and the climate, because where we are headed, things are not going to be easy. We say hapa mbele, haitakuwa kama kawaida unless we change our ways and unless we change the ways in which we do things. And we are the change. We are the change, and I think that is why the EU chose to sit with the youth, so that as we go on with our business, as we go on with our study, as we are enrolled into the business environment and into the work environment, we be the change in those places, we be the change in those offices. And I had a chance to sit with His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, today over lunch, and I realized that he's very passionate about his people, and the youth in particular, and the opportunities that are there for them. And I would like to encourage each and every one of you to try and get close to his office, if not him, because according to the way we were able to engage, I think his office is very open, and from what I heard from Dada EPZ, they are very helpful. And to the youth, you might not be able to do what you're studying, but that does not mean that there are no jobs outside there. I studied business administration, but I'm here now working as a designer. All you need to do is widen your thoughts, look outside your boxes, and see what else you have to offer. Don't sit there and say, I studied economics and no job opportunities, or I studied engineering like she did and there are no job opportunities. If you're good in art, nobody raised their hand here when Olivia asked who's doing fashion, who's doing art, who's doing design. And some of these things, I was not lucky enough to get anything in art growing up. There were no art subjects, unfortunately. Maybe that's something that the stakeholders need to look at when it comes to subject selections in school and all that. I was not lucky enough to study what I was good in growing up. I was a very good artist. So when I cleared school, that's when I got the opportunity to get to practice what I love. Because back then, art was shunned. I'm afraid to say so. Art was shunned and was not looked as one of the most lucrative subjects or jobs for the youth. But I can say that it pays, and it pays very well. I've been able to globetrot. I've been around the world because of art. So art is another way of looking at saving the environment. I would like to thank the EU and everyone for this opportunity, and I hope that the youth will have time to grab all the opportunities that the EU has brought home to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helen Talbert. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. It just reminds me of a fact I want to share with you. Last year in Kenya, the creative sector was the second fastest growing economic sector in the country. The creative sector. So please do not discard it as a breadless art. The future is creative, and you can be creative anywhere. You don't have to do fashion or be a painter or a writer. You can be creative in agriculture. You can be creative in cooking. You can be creative in whatever you do, but the future belongs to the creatives. It's your mind that will pay. So whatever you can invest in your mind, please do that and dare to be innovative, because this is the future for Kenya. And Kenya is very fortunate to have so much young talent. So just be daring to let it out.
Helen?
I forgot to add something. I just wanted to encourage each and every one of you. Whenever we say start a business and start from somewhere, people think it's very difficult to start a business. You need hundreds of thousands. I love to tell my story because when I started my business with 5,000 Kenyan shillings. And you will think it's a joke when I say that, because I started from Mutumba, selling Mutumba, so I would plow back my profit, and it requires a lot of discipline. So when you clear school and you're not able to get a job, I don't want you sitting at home and pity-patting over yourself and saying, I'm not able to get capital, or I need people to fundraise for me, or I need to do this. Just over lunch, we were talking about the Hustler Fund, And she was making me aware that you can take the Hustler Fund. Some of you will say it's very little, like I did. But you can scale up, just like every other loan. Once you pay, you scale up. So it depends with what you do, with how much you have. If you're disciplined enough, you can start from somewhere and become somebody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. One thing I've been told, and one thing I would hope that you can walk away with today, is that the opportunities are there. You just don't know about them. The opportunities are there. You just don't know about them. In the last year, I've been so privileged to hear about so many people, so many organizations, so many institutions that are doing their utmost to provide you with more opportunities. The opportunities are there, you just don't know about them. One of the member states of the European Union is Hungary. And Hungary has 200 scholarships annually dedicated just for Kenyan students. Just for Kenyans. This year, Hungary sent 146. Why? That's all they had with regards to applicants. So the other thing I'd like to emphasize is, please amplify the message. When you hear about something, tell others, share the information. Because imagine if one of those 146 had also shared, there would be 147, then 148, then 150, then 160. Then they would make that target of 200. And Hungary is only one of the 27 member states of the European Union. There are so many opportunities. You just don't know about them. Show of hands, questions. I'd like to pass the mic on to one of you. Anybody with a question?
We have Our Excellency, the Harriet Geiger, the European Union Ambassador, the Excellency Deputy Governor of Kisumu, my seniors, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My name is Okubi Fortune. I'm from the Great Lakes University of Kisumu, pursuing Bachelor of Science in Nursing and Midwifery. My question goes to the Deputy Governor of Kisumu, who is now the county boss. The question is not political, I know. It is just about climate change. Now, there have been a lot of engagements, a lot of meetings, a lot of community outreach in Kisumu about climate change. And now as you are here, you're the county boss. I think you see the county, almost everything that happens in the county. According to you, as the county boss, Kisumu County, where are we when it comes to, when you compare Kisumu County to other counties, where have we reached in terms of the climate change, the changes that have been affected? Is there a plus or a minus? Because there have been a lot of meetings, a lot of engagements. I just wanted to know, where are we when it comes to improvement on climate change and how to handle it? Is there a plus or a minus? That's my question.
Nursing and midwifery. But the question is on where Kisumu County stands on climate action. So you see, all questions are valid. DG.
Well, I would like to take this opportunity before I answer that question to dig into what Olivia just talked about a while ago. Your thirst for the scholarships that are offered not just in the European Union, but in, all over the world. But let's talk about the European Union for today and the scholarships that are there. You see, if you think about our country, and way back before I was born and before you were born, and probably some of you were born, I doubt, in the 60s and the 50s, we used to have what was the famous airlifts, okay? And out of those airlifts, we had the main industry captains, the political leaders, and the examples are limitless. You guys have heard of Professor Wasau in academia. You guys have heard of Obama Senior, an economist. Quite a number of people. You guys have heard of Mwai Kibaki. Many people who went for the airlift came back to change their communities and their world. And from the policy level, we have information. Okay? We have information. I know somebody will be talking about this. That the uptake of the scholarships, especially to the European Union, from among yourselves within this region is not to the mark. You can imagine the case of Hungary alone, where we had a shortfall. They need 200, we have only 146. So I really hope that one of the take-homes from this engagement would be for you to inform your colleagues, who should inform the others, so that in the next phase of the scholarships, we have an oversubscription, okay? So that you guys can go get all the, the innovations that you can have, all the knowledge that you can have to come and change our society. Quickly to what my brother there is talking about, my young brother there, is that there's been a lot of meetings, a lot of, engagements. What is it that we are doing as the county of Kisumu to ensure that we mitigate the effects of climate change? And by the way, the effects of climate change within the lake basin is huge. Just about 3 or 4 months ago, we lost quite a bit of fish stocks in the lake. We also know about the surging waters of Lake Victoria that have swallowed a whole school, a whole church. Communities have left their land because of the swelling waters of the what? Of the lake. Again, because of effects of what? Of climate change. What we have done, and the governor has done this by issuing an executive order, is that every 10th of the new month, we are going out there to plant trees, okay? Spearheaded by the county government. We have 3 water towers, okay? One in Kajulu, another in Kisumu West, another in Nyakach, Koguta, which is the biggest one, and which has, the forest cover depleted. And we are working with partners to help us restore the water towers as we know them here today. We are doing about 6% when you need to go all the way to 13. But our challenge to universities, to churches, to schools, everybody, including your homes, please, please, please plant trees. We are very fortunate to have very young, energetic, environmental, crusaders in the county of Kisumu. And the challenge that they gave us the last time we had a meeting is that if you are celebrating your birthday, if you are 50, you plant 50 trees, okay? If you are 20, you ensure you plant 20 trees. Let's have an excuse of planting trees so that we can mitigate the effects of climate change. But the other one also is to ensure that our water bodies are kept out of pollution. The unfortunate thing is that at the lake basin, we sometimes suffer not because of what we do around here, but what is done elsewhere. All the rivers that drain into Lake Victoria come from the highlands. So in use of fertilizers, for example, or pollution of the lakes at that level will eventually lead to the pollution of what? Of the lake down here. So it is for all of us Kenyans to think about the environment, because what you do within your home may affect somebody thousands of kilometers away. So that's what we are doing in the county as we speak. We are taking it right from down. A kid celebrating her first birthday should be able to plant a tree. They may not be able to push the soil there, but the parents can help them do that, because the parents still help them to blow the candle anyway.
Fantastic. Thank you, DG. Thank you, DG. All I can say is the takeaway from this is you must multitask. A lot of people don't know that I paid my way through all of my higher education, undergrad and master's. It was not something I wanted to do personally, but it's something I was forced to do. And because I was forced to do, I had to dig deep into my pocket and figure out what natural skills do I have? What natural skills do I have, and what support can I get for those natural skills? One of the things I realized a lot as I travel around the country talking to young people is that you're quite segmented. You're a learner, you're a student, you're a child, you're a this. One thing I've realized in my travels abroad is that from an early age, they start working. Whether it's a small business, whether it's a large business, whether it's supporting their parents, whether it's doing something in the school, they're working. They're being entrepreneurial, they're being enterprising. They're not segmented that now you're young. When you're older, you will. When you grow up, you will. When you get your degree, you will, right? Please move away from that. And one of the ways you can do that is through the support of organizations like KCIC that are the implementing partners for the European Union. They are offering you skills, they're offering you funding, right? I paid my whole undergrad, I paid my whole master's through natural skills that I had. Back then, there were hardly any radio presenters. So you can talk 1, 2, you can make some money. Now it's a bit harder than that. So you have to be innovative. And one of the ladies who's being very innovative through KCIC is the proprietor of Brea Honey. Madame, yesterday I met you at the sports ground, and you and your husband, I had to confirm, I didn't want to assume, yeah? The gentleman standing next to you was your husband, yeah? And you were telling me about the bees from Migori and about your honey, and I haven't tried it yet, because you told me once you try our honey, you will never, ever, ever be able to go back to any other brand of honey. So please introduce yourself, introduce your business, and kindly tell us about your journey with KCIC in bringing this business to life.
Thank you. Good afternoon. All protocols observed. My name is Eunice Ndegwa. I am from Migori County. I am a beekeeper, or what they call apiculture. I ventured into apiculture by default and misinformation. Somebody told me that if you want to make extra money, do beekeeping. Buy 10 hives. At the end of the month, you get 10 kgs per hive. How much will you get at the end of the year? So the person advised me to buy 100 hives. I had some savings. I bought 100 hives, put them in the bush, but at the end of the day, I did not get any money. And I was so miserable in my house. Then I looked at myself, I said, no, this is not the end of it. What can I do to improve on the information that I have? So I started studying about bees. I decided that I will do it myself, find out from people who have done it, bring on board people who have done apiculture, and started improving what I had. And as I speak to you today, I have 300 beehives, I have 6 apiaries, and every 3 months, I harvest over 200 kgs. I sell 1 kg at 1,000. That is how much. I have my children, I've trained them to go into apiculture because it's something young people can do side by side with other businesses. When we talk of animals like cows, you have to feed them. I don't feed my bees. They go and look for food, they come and make honey, I harvest. And you buy. The truth is, it is quality, it is multifloral, it is medicinal. The sugar that you eat today, that you drink your porridge, your teas with, is not clean. My honey is clean, it's medicinal. People buy it, especially those who are diabetic, they come because they know the honey I have is quality. I add nothing. I don't ask money from my children who are working. I even have doctors in my family. I don't ask my children from any money because I make my own money. And when they come home, some of them are your age mates. When they come home, I give them money. I give them food from beekeeping. Currently, I'm working with over 20 farmers. 50% are women. I've introduced them into beekeeping because they are able to take care of their other activities and at the same time keep bees, and I harvest after every 3 months. They get their portion, I get honey and sell for them because they do not have access to money, to market. Why do we have to keep bees? The current honey that most Kenyans eat, all of you here, most of it is from Tanzania. Yes. Are you aware of that? Yes, and our honey in Kenya is of higher quality than the Tanzanian honey. Yes, you can testify. there's market for honey, internally and even externally. There are people who even buy my honey and take outside the country. I have clients in US, I have clients in United Arab Emirates. They come and buy because they know it is quality. The problem we have in Kenya is that we want to get rich just like I wanted when I was introduced into beekeeping. So because we want to get rich fast, especially young people, most of you are very eager to be millionaires. Cindy? Yes. So we want to use shortcuts to make money. And in the process of using shortcuts, then we have things which are not clean, things which are adulterated, are even harmful to people's health. And that's why we have increase of even cancers in the country. We were talking about the herbicides, the fertilizers that we have. But if we do clean job, if you keep your hives, young people, keep bees. Bees are also pollinators. If we kill all the bees, will we be able to survive? No. So we need bees, we need trees. I plant trees every year, over 2,000. I even give people. Every year I plant trees. I have fruit trees, I have eucalyptus, I have oranges, I have apples in Migori, I have avocados, and even macadamia trees. Because without trees, without bees, our lives are in danger. And it's not me. I am 60 years old. But if you're not taking care of yourself, when you'll be 60, all of you will look older than me. Yes. Why am I here? I'm here because of beekeeping. I entered into a program with KCIC. That was June this year. And young people, I can tell you, this is the best thing that has happened to me. I used to do beekeeping haphazardly. You know, like all the monies are in my handbag. If I feel that today I must buy fish and somebody has paid me 1,000, I'll go to the market. We say, vunja mfupa kama. Yes. So I'll go and buy without thinking that this is money for business. But KCIC has trained me to separate my money, my pension, which I get from the government, from the business money. KCIC has also enlightened me on financial modeling. I can now do recording. I never used to record. I just buy, make honey, sell, say this money is for this one I'll buy this. But now I am able, because I've been trained twice, I am able to keep good records. I am able also to do effective financial management of my own business. Even if you come to my house, the first thing you'll see are my books. I'll show you this is for the customers, this is for the cash, this is for all the records because of KCIC. Something else, I am here today because of KCIC. I come from Migori. I didn't know about the tourism thing. You know, when you are in the village. But they are exposing me to business opportunities and marketing. And because of that, I am able to meet with all young people like you. So they expose us, those who are in their program, on marketing opportunities. And at the same time, they also teach you how to market your products. Maybe before then I wouldn't be talking like this, but because they take you through the process, tell you, hey, mama, simama hapo, talk to us. So I've been trained on how to market my products with the support of KCIC, and I'm very grateful. They have also trained us on investor preparedness. You know, you cannot just go and tell, I worked for CARE International in Somalia. For you to do a proposal, you must be ready, isn't it? So that EU can fund it. So they have trained us, and sometimes as organizations, we get qualified people to do the work, then we submit it to the donor. But KCIC encourages us and works with us to develop our pitches so that they are ready to be presented to the donors. Currently, they are ready to give me 1.5 million to upscale my business. And I know soon and very soon I'll get it. They also give us linkages. I've been here since Saturday. I have been able to meet with different people, including my friend Sia. She came to my stand yesterday. And all of you, I believe you'll come to me. I have a young person from JKUAT University, who is attached to my business. While he's on leave, I keep on telling him, this thing can give you some money. Don't just sit at home. So during the holiday, he comes and stays at my place, and I pay him every day. And he's able to go back, pay his rent, and at the same time meet his other needs. So young people, let us not sit and wait for white-collar jobs. They are no longer there, and money is in agribusiness. Money is in the market. All of us here, we must eat today. Who can go for 3 days without eating? We all need food on the table, isn't it? And food is in business. Food is in agriculture. Let us look back, go back home. Stop going to towns to look for jobs. Stop going out to fight people, to fight politicians. Let them come for you. If you are empowered, people will come for you. If you are not empowered, people will misuse you. So go back to the farm, go back to your businesses, do businesses, get the linkages here, get the contacts, and do something that can make you not only be useful to yourself, but also to the society. And together we can build this country. Just one last one. I think I just want to, because I'm meeting him for the first time, I just want to thank him for what he has done to build my capacity. Thank you so much.
Eunice Ndegwa, Brea, honey, yesterday it was such a privilege to walk around the Kisumu Sports Ground and to engage with everybody there who had a stall. You know, sometimes we take it for granted when somebody is, you know, selling their products or selling their goods. Take a minute, talk to these people. In addition to multitasking, it is really important as young people to multi-skill. COVID saw pilots being homeless. COVID saw pilots' homes auctioned. They had to some leave and go back to the village. Someone who thought after studying aviation they would be secure for life. So we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what the future holds. Multitask and multi-skill as much as you can. The knowledge is out there. I learned to do my makeup on YouTube. And I told Ellen, I said, Ellen, if this communications thing goes down, I have Kazi Mkono, I just do people's makeup, I make 1-2 coin here and there. So always have something in your back pocket. And look to people, get a mentor. And not somebody who is a yes madam or a yes sir. Get somebody who will tell you, no, that is a stupid, foolish idea. Or no, you're walking off your path. Here is the way back. All right, I know you have a question right here. Your name, your institution, your area of study.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. My name is Walter Okinyi, postgraduate student, Maseno University, aquaculture is my course. Mine is not a question, but I am a living testimony. I come from Migori. I bought a hive from Madam's apiary. That was way back in 2020 when COVID hit hard, and I was home, idle, and then I'm a fan of KTN Farmers. That was my favorite channel, so I was so much into apiculture. I got a link to her husband. Madam, I came, Mzee sold me a hive, akani skuma nagari mpaka stage. I went home, placed the hive. I think I've harvested 3 eyes. And yeah, Madam is telling you the truth. Apiculture is lucrative. You don't need to feed your beeves, they feed themselves and you earn. Another benefit that Madam didn't mention is, because I don't have my own land, I placed that hive on my mom's farm. The bees are security to the farm. Nobody can come and... So that is so much. Madam, I think I'll see you. Can you attend? I'll come for more hives. I think I want to upgrade and do more. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your comment. There's a gentleman here who also has another question. Your name, your institution, your area of study, and your question, please.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. My name is Frederick Juma. I'm a postgraduate student at Maseno University, pursuing a PhD in this insect the man was talking about. how it can be used to be optimized to produce and recycle more waste and be used in fish feed. Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask a question to the EU ambassador. And I think the governor, the deputy governor has alluded to it, about this challenge we're having, fish mortality in Lake Victoria. All these people here, I believe, either you're studying in this region or you live in this region, 2 or 3 days can't go before you take fish. And it's such an important livelihood for the history because of the fishers, the fish folk that have been living along the shore. But of late, we have started seeing very bad signs from the lake. Very bad signs in the sense that the cage farmers who are now trying out their best to farm fish, because the capture fisheries has disappeared all over the world. We don't have capture fisheries. Even in the ocean, it's declining. The lake, it has declined. Livelihoods have been lost along the Lake region. In fact, when you look at the poverty rate, the top 10 poor counties are the ones that, from Busia all the way to Homa Bay, they're doing very bad. Now they're trying their luck in cage fish farming. So many fishermen have not been onboarded. But we have been having this challenge of fish dying in high mortalities. I know the EU has very strong support or ability to support the research, technology, science, and research. Because when the fish die, most of the time the fishermen or the fisher folk, they call the Kenya Marine and Fisheries. Come and help us. What's happening? Is it pollution? Is it what? People start blaming each other. But even in the universities within the region, there's a lot of gray area. That area of research to understand this upwelling thing, where the water from the bottom, the dirty water comes up, it messes up the oxygen, and all the fish die. The caged fish cannot move. The wild fish will migrate.
Sir, sorry to interrupt, but what your question for Her Excellency,
My question is there a way in which we can be able to mobilize resources to support research from the postgraduate, undergraduate, or even project that can support clear research, we can have early warning system to support this sector? Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, the European Union has the largest research program in the world. And this is open to all partner countries of the EU. So the only thing you need to do is find a partner in a EU member state, a research institute, a university. You submit a proposal. There's a specific window for Africa, a very big one. And the chances that you're successful in your research proposal and get money is very high. Now, dying fish is normally a sign of bad pollution. And Lake Victoria is suffering from fertilizers, pesticides, human waste. The population is growing. So the water is recycling itself. But when there's a tipping point, it cannot recycle itself anymore. I have seen in other countries many lakes dying, and this is very, very sad. And this is reversible, but it costs a lot of money to do that, and it takes a lot of time. In Europe now, they're cleaning up most of their rivers and lakes, but in the past, also in Europe, this has happened. I remember a textile plant in a city close by, and whenever they were doing a specific color, the water was that color. So it was red one day, blue the other, green the other, orange the other. So stuff like that has happened. And I know that most of the problems in a lake are due to pesticides and overpopulation and fertilizer runoff from the fields. Also, I don't know how it is, this is for the Deputy Governor to tell me, but Lake Victoria is of course a shared resource. But when you have cities bordering a lake, you need treatment plants. So what happens to the waste, the sewerage of the cities? Is this all going into the lake? The first thing you need to do is analyze the water. What is it? What is in the water? And then you can determine maybe what makes the fish die and create all the other problems. But it's not normally one single cause. It's just an overexploited resource, and the water just cannot cope anymore. So it's very difficult when you share with different countries or counties and cities, because you all have to agree on this. But also the EU has regional projects that are specially directed to address multi-country challenges like that. So if you get together with the other countries, the other counties, and you do a Safe Lake Victoria initiative, I'm sure we can get funding for you. But this is something that is also affecting tourism very badly. So I know in other countries, when lakes and waterways have died, the tourists don't come anymore, because why should they come if the lake is stinking or they cannot swim there, etc. So this is a unique resource that also for the sake of tourism you need to protect. So anyhow, we can talk more about this, but if I were you, the first step I would do is analyze the water, and then based on that try to do some research proposals to research further, and then some regional project for the cleaning up and protection of Lake Victoria.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I hope that answers your question. I see the DG has a question or a comment.
Well, not a question, but just a point of information. I think that question, by the way, is very important. All the factors that have been outlined by Her Excellency, you know, as pollutants to the lake, actually reduce what we call dissolved oxygen content, and that is what led to the death of the fish, or the mortality of the fish that we saw. But coming from you know, her presentation or her answer to your question, we have 3 associations that are very key. Lake Victoria is a shared resource. So we have riparian counties, the counties that touch onto the lake directly. So we come all the way from Migori up to Siaya. So we have you know, some cooperation of looking into how you know, the use of the lake is in each and every county. Then within the lake region, you have observed that sometimes you can get, you know, pollution coming from the high up the hill or in the highlands into the lake. So we have the Lake Region Economic Block that comprises 14 counties, including Kericho and Bomet, where most of the rivers that are emptying here are coming from. And then in terms of the countries, we have the Lake Victoria Basin Commission, okay? Again, you know, looking into how Kenya and the rest of the countries that touch on Lake Victoria are using the lake. But I get, you know, idea that we need to think about the health of the lake and a common approach for which we can then, you know, approach the EU. Fortunately, Governor Professor Peter Nyang'o is the chairman of the Lake Region Economic Block, and I'm going to let him know about this, and hopefully we can both do something together, because if you do not, I think scientifically, if you do not, we will not have this lake in less than 20 years if the volume of pollution continues.
Indeed. So let's save Lake Victoria. Thank you so much, DG, for that. We will be having a tea and coffee break at 4 o'clock or just thereafter. Prior to that, we'll have an introduction on the Erasmus Scholarship Program. But I must say I am
a poor MC or moderator, because I have another panelist whose name and business I cannot recall. No idea. In fact, he could even just have walked in from the street and I wouldn't know. But sir, please, your name and please go ahead. Inform the moderator.
Yeah, actually, she has said it 100%.
You walked off the street?
No, I'm just from the street, yes. But I'm here representing one of those big researchers in this region, known as Eric Ogello. I'm sure that's familiar, right? Yeah, so I come from Maseno University. I'm an educationist. I'm a biotechnologist, conservation biologist, ecologist. I'm almost like anything. So I'm so happy that at least you've given me the microphone at the end of it, almost at the end, because I've really learned. And I think at the end of the day, I will grow some more white hair. I think I'll try to count, eh? Yes. So I think I like what Her Excellency has alluded to. Then I was almost being tempted to look at your CV, whether you are deep into biology, because you've really given the answer. We've done some research. I don't want to repeat what Professor said, because Professor is coming from JOOST. JOOST is a brainchild of Maseno University. So what JOOST is doing, I don't want to say we do better, but we... Okay. On a light note, there's a student, a PhD student, 2 PhD students. There's evidence that the lake is really choking out of pollution. The problem is pollution. I happen to come from, I happen to live next to EPZ, where one of, in Riyadh. Eh? So for the last 4 or 5 years since it was inaugurated by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, I used to wonder, what is going on here? Because I'm really concerned about pollution. But today I got the answer from her. There's a lot of waste from fabrics, but thank God you've gone green. So this student has shown evidence that there is a pollution out of antibiotics. She's a clinical medicine something. Yeah? Antibiotics, pharmaceuticals, these makeups we do. There's a lot of pesticide. There's a lot of heavy metals, lead. You know them, yeah? A lot of heavy metal that is associated with cancer. We also did some research recently, and we could connect the cancer within the lake region. Actually, most of these guys who are about 65 years old, they suffer from prostate cancer in this region. Maybe there's a connection with the lake. I stopped taking sugar almost 10 years ago. When we were told that there's mercury in sugar, I was like, oh, I think I'm safe. I stopped taking honey when I bought some honey. Within 2 days, it had solidified and turned into sugar. So I said, oh, what is this? So I want to try hers, maybe. It's working. So there is also good news that there's a lot of opportunities. We don't need to do wet lab research. We can go bioinformatics. We can go, this AI, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. So this student actually looked at, actually we can use microorganisms to clean the environment, right? Petrol, xenobiotics, those pharmaceuticals, and so on and so forth. Now, there's evidence, there's bad news that there's evidence, there's something happening with our tourism in this region. There's a student who was working under me and showed evidence that there is antimicrobial resistance in Ruma National Park. We were studying rhinos. So there's that human-wildlife interface, that spillover. So most of us, we take antibiotics with alcohol. We don't finish our prescription. So we've developed a lot of resistance, and that is spilling over. The other thing I wanted to say, we are all version of our own. Like I can say I'm a professor in quotes, professor in making. I did biotechnology in Europe. What I do, I sensitize my students that there's a lot of opportunities. Why don't you apply for this and these scholarships? So I have like almost 7 students now in Europe. One of them is in Germany under DAD scholarship. Anyway, what I wanted to say is this. Kisumu is not doing well. Sorry, I don't have enough time, but I wanted to tell the DG that it's unfortunate that we have a big city like Kisumu, but sewer line is just a problem. That waste thing you're talking about, we have a waste water treatment plant whose capacity cannot serve the whole population. What I've done, using my knowledge, I've helped the community, a few guys who bother. I've made for them biodigesters. Yes, so like if you come to my home, I've done one. What I did, I just went to YouTube, used my knowledge, then got some mason. I'm also a mason, and then we did that. Yeah, so we have clean water coming out. So what is remaining is just to recycle it and use it for irrigation. So I think there's also another problem. In the morning, you clean this road going to the airport. Every morning you clean it. In the evening when I'm going home, I see a lot of bottles. I see fellow Kenyans throw bottles. Yes. Sometimes I'm also tempted, but so what's happening? I think we can put cameras and charge these people. Now that we are obsessed with taxing Kenyans, we can tax them. Another thing we are doing, somebody talked about microplastics. Yeah, microplastics. We are doing a research in collaboration with Japan. This microplastic, you see this thing you use to brush your teeth? There's a lot of small micro plastics coming out, going into our sink and finding their way to the lake. Now we want to look at the trophic levels of these microplastics in fish, right? Yeah, we want to connect. You know microplastics sometimes.
I am very sorry to cut you short, but we'll be ending our live transmission shortly. A round of applause for him. We have an entire hour of an informal Q&A and networking session outside, but first I would like to introduce the Erasmus program. And in order to do that, please stand up, the Erasmus alumni who are in the room. Kindly just stand where you are, just stand. Okay, fantastic, we have 3 of them. So Her Excellency will start us off with regards to an introduction to the Erasmus Scholarship Program. And then following her address, I'll allow each of you to say a word, and then we'll have tea and coffee and refreshments outside so that you can further engage and network with our panelists. Have I missed anybody? Did I miss anybody? Okay. And the DG, and of course, Her Excellency as well. Oh, and their photos. The hashtag, please remember, EU in Kisumu. I hope all of you have access to @EU in Kenya, because there are so many resources there and we're constantly updating. So kindly follow us, share, so that you can always be updated. Your Excellency.
We heard a lot, so I will not say a lot, but I will let the Erasmus alumni talk about their experience, because they can tell you firsthand what this program is all about. But I just wanted to tell you that Erasmus Plus is the largest scholarship program in the world. It was first invented to allow students inside the EU to spend time in another country whilst they do their university studies. Most of them do it during their bachelor years, but some during the masters also. They spend up to a year in a university in another member state of the EU. Let's say if you're Belgian, you go to Italy. If you're Greek, you go to Finland. You look where they give interesting courses in your field, and you're not losing any semester or any points. So nowadays, most of the university students in Europe have spent 1 year or at least 1 semester abroad in another country. This is not only giving them access to a different culture, different language, meet meeting different people, broadening their horizon, it's also excellent for their CV. So what the EU said, we will expand this Erasmus program to all our partner countries, and Kenya is one of them. For Africa, the EU made a commitment to give 100,000 scholarships to African youth. We are very far off the target. So just a few weeks ago, I had an event at my residence, and I was congratulating 20 Kenyan students for winning the scholarship. I could have sent off 200 or 500 or 1,000 if they had only applied. I don't know why so few apply in Kenya. In most other countries, there are far more applying and getting it. In Addis, in Ethiopia, I think there are more than 100 per year. The only thing you need to do, you have to be master's level, and you have to apply online, and you're being accepted or not by the university of your choice. Everything is fully paid. You get a very generous stipend for living. You even get travel money for traveling in the EU. So the only thing you need to do is study and make your experience. So I'm on a mission that by the time I leave, I have 2 more years here in Kenya, I want to have at least 100 students per year coming from Kenya. At least. But I have met so many talented young Kenyans that I'm sure the country has the capacity to send 1,000. And the other thing I wanted to tell you, you know that Europe has a scarcity of skilled labor. Now we have an inverted age pyramid, so we have a lot of old people and few young people. Just last night, I was in a high-level dinner about trying to get young people from partner countries to work in Germany. So there are plenty of things coming up. And if you're a student, you also can work there for up to 1 year afterwards, if you wish. And I did myself, I am myself a scholarship child. I got a scholarship, but not that one. I got a Fulbright scholarship, and I worked afterwards. The company wanted to keep me. They wanted to sponsor me for a green card. I didn't do it because I wanted to go back to Europe. But anyhow, if you do the Erasmus, you get to a work experience afterwards and you do well, chances are that the company is desperate to keep you. So I'm not saying that you should go in order to stay, because you will hear from our Erasmus alumni that all the ones that came back have brilliant careers here in Kenya. So with these words, I would really like to give the microphone to our Erasmus alumni. They made very different experiences in different countries, and they are the best to tell you about the program. And we have, of course, all the information online. So you can study afterwards. You can, at our website, I'm sure Olivia will tell you. Then you can see what are the requirements and all the specifics. So don't worry about that. If you're interested, we can provide that to you later on.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. One of the most important things is to understand where you're getting your information. Where are you getting your information? There's so much out there. You can Google almost anything these days, but there are also, with regards to the people who are offering you opportunities, a lot of scammers.
a lot of scammers. I don't want you to leave here and then be caught into one of those portals and be scammed. Please follow us at EU in Kenya. Go to our Instagram. Go to our YouTube. Go to our Facebook. Go to our Twitter, now X. Yeah, EU in Kenya. There's always somebody there ready to answer your questions. There's so much information there. And if you're stuck, make sure you try and contact even the delegation so that you can get credible information. Beatrice at the back there, Beatrice does a lot of hard work. She's the, wave Beatrice, yeah? Beatrice is the political press and information officer. She gives out so much credible information from the delegation. Remember, the delegation represents all 27 European Union member states. And within them, there are so many opportunities. Do not be disheartened because of some people who were scamming other people. Nowhere in this chain is money exchanged. I always tell people, if you have to pay for something that is supposed to be benefiting you, it's probably a scam. Whether it's a job, whether it's a scholarship, whether it's even attending a conference like this, if you have to pay for it, it's probably a scam. And get your information from somebody who has already gone through that process and make sure you have evidence of that. There are some things I wish I knew when I was your age, and that is one of them. Where you get your information is almost as important as the information itself, if not more so. So remember, it is EU in Kenya. EU stands for European Union. Get your credible information there. Study in Europe. The world then is your oyster. I'll now hand over to one of the alumni to give his testimony, and then over to the two before we break for tea.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Duncan Chando. Maybe I can stand here so that we... Okay. So my name is Duncan Chando. I did my Erasmus, finished in 2019, and currently I work for the United Nations here in Kenya. So just to tell you a bit about my journey, I think this also to encourage us, because some of us normally they say these things, normally people ask, unajua mtu huko. True. Is that true? We have that always. We will always ask, do you know someone? Can you connect me with a scholarship? I think that's always the conversation. But I want to tell you that it just takes you to apply. Click that button. There are more than 200 master's programs you can choose from. So no matter your field of study, there's always something for everyone. So I did my studies in advanced development in social work, specializing in social policy. And I studied in the UK, United Kingdom, the University of Lincoln. Then I moved there. I went to Denmark, studied at University of Aalborg in Denmark. Then from there I came to France, University of Paris-Nanterre University in France. And then from France I went to Portugal. I loved Portugal. I stayed there. I did my research there. And I was at the University of Lisbon, where I did a research and I was looking at, some of the challenges of funding and fundraising within the social sector. And then from there I did finish in Poland, University of Warsaw. So it was a big journey. But during that time also, I had an opportunity to visit more than 15 countries in EU. Traveling is very easy. You move from one country to another is like maybe 10 euros, 15 euros, 20 euros flight. You're able to move from one country to another. Apart from that also, there's also an opportunity of networking, because you meet other international students from other countries and you have an opportunity of building your own network. So when I completed my Erasmus, there was an opportunity actually in Denmark. They give us 2 years. So there's this opportunity of getting 2 years and staying back and doing something. But luckily, just before that, I got a job in Geneva. I went to Switzerland. I worked there for some time. And then I decided to come back. I came back just before COVID. I arrived here on 6th of February, and then, COVID happened and everything changed. Went back to upcountry. I come from Migori, actually. I went back upcountry. I'd made some savings from my Erasmus scholarship. I bought 2 acres piece of land. I'm now doing farming also as a side hustle. So what to tell you is that this journey is amazing, and we are here to support you guys. If you just want to apply, one thing, you need to prepare early, because sometimes people wait until the last minute. It's when, it's closing tomorrow. Then you want to apply. when it is very late. So start early. The applications are almost opening, and depending on the university. So start early, number one. Number two, also start looking for good recommendation from your professors. You know, sometimes there are those people you ask from a professor. The professor doesn't even know you, you know. So you need to also be active so that by the time you're asking professor to write a recommendation, they actually can write something, because those play a very key role. And then the last thing is statement of purpose. Why do you want to go? Why should we give you and not the other person? So you need to put in a very good statement of purpose. And what I want to offer today is there's a Facebook page whereby you can always check this information. There are sessions there that, Erasmus Mundus Association in Kenya, you can always get that information. But apart from that also, I'm offering here today that even you can form, sometimes everyone asking the same question is very difficult. So for example, if I have 10 students from Maseno, you form a WhatsApp group, and now there's a question. So if you ask one question, then if I answer it, then everyone can get it at the same point. So you can form a WhatsApp group, and when this application is going to start, then there's always that support, making myself available to support you. So I think during the networking session, we can exchange numbers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So Erasmus Mundus Association of Kenya.
Ask a question. Duncan, can you tell us how long you were out and in which languages did you study?
I was out for 2 years. The program is 2 years. And interestingly, all the courses were in English. Though I had an opportunity of trying to learn some Portuguese here and there, Danish here and there, but all the courses are in English. That's another good thing. All the courses are in English. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Erasmus Mundus Association of Kenya, that's the Facebook page. Create a WhatsApp group, share information, get credible information. That's all I can say. We will be having a networking session. I'd like to have another alumni up to speak, and then we'll take a break. There was a third. Yes, okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Nyango Ching, Doctor PhD, 3 degrees. Yes, not medical. I am an alumnus of Erasmus Mundus. I was accepted in the year 2006. I have my acceptance letter with me, and I'm sharing it out so that you can see. I think I was the second cohort in the country, because the first went in 2005, and I was in the second cohort that went in 2006. I undertook the European Master of Science in International Health, where I studied in 3 countries. The first week we went to Germany, Berlin, for our introduction. Everything was fully paid for. My mother institute was Queen Margaret University in Edinburgh, Scotland, where I was there for a period of the first semester, which lasted about 4 months. Then I went to the School of Public Health at University of Copenhagen in Denmark. Then I went and did my thesis at the Vrije University in Amsterdam. After that, I graduated and came back home. During my time, there was also what Duncan has said. There was an option of continuing your stay in any of the European Union countries. But I came back home because I wanted to come back and work at home. So I came back. I was absorbed by a research institute. I work at a Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute right now. I have risen the ranks to be the research coordinator, although I'm exiting to work at the national level as the Assistant Director of Research at the Gender Commission. So this is my last engagement here. Yes, and I think it's because of the foundation I had in the Erasmus Mundus program. So it was a good program for me. It was an exciting program. I had to apply for the UK visa then, and I applied for the student visa, which allowed me to work. So I worked as a hostel captain during the time that I was at the Queen Margaret University in Edinburgh, and I could earn money on top of my scholarship. It's allowed, yes. And then after that, I went to Copenhagen, and then I finished in Amsterdam. And the greatest thing about it is that the networks that I made then with all the students in the 3 different countries, we still maintain them until now. I have a friend in Mongolia who was in the same tract I'd never heard about Mongolia before I went outside then. I have a friend in Georgia, you know, countries that you just hear about in the movies, but now you see they're actual people. So it was a good program. If you're a lady, you can be lucky enough to get somebody to stay with you, and you stay forever. I have a sister who went through the European Union scholarship, and she's now married in Denmark, so it's a good thing. The experience for me that I wanted, especially being that I'd gone through Kenyatta University, where I graduated with a first-class honors, was to be exposed to a different system of education. So I found that most of the work that we did there was by independent research, and that was quite helpful when I came back and applied for my PhD, because then we were doing PhD by independent research. So it helped sharpen my critical thinking, and it allowed me to scale further in my education and also my career ambitions. I would encourage you to apply for Erasmus Mundus, because the stipend then was quite good, and now it has even been increased. And if you are going to any of the European Union countries, you only apply for a Schengen visa. So it's easier. So you don't have to apply for all visas in all these countries. Once you get for the Schengen states, you're allowed to move in. So you could find that when I was in Denmark, I could visit Malmö, Sweden. I went to the University of Lund. I had an opportunity to go to Paris, and it was an opportunity like no other, because then you are carefree. It was a good opportunity. I would urge you to look at their website. If you have any questions, ask us, because we've pushed, most of us, as they said, we've pushed ourselves to the topmost of our education and career objectives. I've already done my PhD. I'm angling to do my postdoc, still in research, and probably out in the EU. So it's a good thing. I think it is something that will be worth your while looking at. Thank you.
A round of applause for Daktari. Thank you so much. Hand the mic over to Her Excellency, please.
Just a clarification. You know that the United Kingdom is unfortunately no longer a member of the European Union. They left the European Union, and therefore they also left the Erasmus program. So UK universities are no longer participating in this, even though this could change, because the UK just decided they will buy into our Horizon, into our research program with their own funds. So maybe they're already putting the gear into reverse. But for now, Erasmus Mundus is only for the 27 member states. So UK universities are off limits right now. Just to clarify.
We call it backtracking. Okay, so one thing I realized when I was engaging with students who've gone through the Erasmus Mundus program is their confidence. One of the things that came out very clearly is what will distinguish you from others. When I was interviewing the recipients of the latest scholarship at Her Excellency's residence, I wanted to talk to them. I wanted to talk to them on camera so that they can then talk to you via social media and inspire you and motivate you. Well, listen, no, please don't come to me, don't come to me. And I asked them one thing. I'm a Kenyan in Kenya speaking to you about a wonderful achievement, but you can't talk to me about it. How will you manage when you go to a country when you're a minority and you'd hardly even speak the language there? So one thing we need to have, you need to have, is confidence in what you know. Also, in acknowledging what you don't know and ask. Yeah? Confidence in what you know, but then also in acknowledging what you don't know so that you can ask and then know and move with knowledge. Because we know knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And whoever has the power is a person who rules. That's why we're moving into green hydrogen. But that's another story because you don't know what it is, and you'll find out about it soon. Our last alumni from the Erasmus program before we break for tea. That's why we fed you very well at lunch, because we knew it was going to be a long session. Let him take the floor, and then we'll break.
Good evening, Ambassador, Excellency, Deputy Governor for Kisumu County, all protocol observed. Good evening. My name is Titus Suter. I did my bachelor's degree in natural resource management at Egerton University. I graduated in 2010. I did my internship in 2008. I was at the United Nations Environment Program, that is UNEP. So that's where I met an Erasmus alumni who was doing internship at UNEP, and that's how I came to know about the Erasmus program. So when I went back to university, because I was in that year then, I made sure I graduated first with first class honors in natural resource management, and then I applied for Erasmus program twice. So I applied for in 2011. All of them I got a regret, so I was not successful. In 2012, I applied for 3 programs. So one of them I got a regret, another one I was put on a waiting list, and the third option, I got a congratulation. I was successful. And so in the program which I was successful, you can imagine there were 800 applicants from all over the world. Out of the 800, only 15 were successful. So this is less than 2%. This is 1.875% top cream in the world. So out of the 15, and out of the 15, 3 of us were coming from Africa. So you can imagine it is very competitive, 3 from Africa. And out of the 3, 2 of us were coming from Kenya. So in Kenya, they balanced, there was male and female. And first year we were going to 2 universities. So there was option to go to Sweden or Netherlands. So 8 of the students, they went to Sweden. 7 of us who went to the Netherlands. And out of the 3 of us in Africa, 2 went to Sweden. I'm the only one who went to Netherlands. So I was the only African in my program. And then that was first year. Second year, we were choosing, we had 5 countries. So you can imagine having UK, Sweden, Iceland, Poland, and Netherlands. So majority of the students, 6 of them, they went to the UK. 4 students, they went to the Netherlands. 2, they went to Sweden. 2 went to Iceland. So I chose to take the less traveled road. I went to University of Warsaw in Poland. And that is what it has made all the difference. I remember when I was at Warsaw, there was United Nations Environment Conference, that COP19. It took place in Warsaw. When I was there, I was able to meet Kenyan delegation ministers who came for COP19, and that was the turning point. Because I remember my plan was to work at the UN, to work at the World Bank before. But after that, I decided I want to make an impact directly by working with young people to nurture talents. So what I'm doing currently is mentorship program, helping young people, those who are looking for opportunities to study abroad. So we give out information on scholarships. I guide them on how to apply. Also, it has become my career. My passion has become my career because now I work as business development manager Africa for a company based in United Arab Emirates. So we recruit students across Africa to study information technology, computer science, business analytics, health informatics, masters in business administration in US and in Australia. And then besides, I also offer mentorship on scholarships. So when I got this scholarship, you can imagine all I needed to do was to take my passport to the embassy and it was stamped. So my visa was already paid. When it came to my ticket, the university was able to email me my ticket. So they booked for me Turkish Airlines, and I went through Turkey, and then after that I went to the university. I found other students. I never even took any money. So there is installation fee. So under Erasmus, there is an installation fee of about €1,000, where when you get to Europe, you can be given money to settle down so that you can buy warm clothing for winter. So all I needed to do, so the following day when I went to the university, they asked me, how much do you want? I said, give me 30,000 Kenya shillings. And then they told me, come after 2 hours. So maybe they went to the account, and then I went for the cash. After that, they opened a bank account, and every month they used now to put my money into the bank account. So at that time we were receiving 1,000 euros per month, but now it is 1,400 euros. So this is over 200,000 Kenya shillings. So under Erasmus, you are paid to study. You do not need to work. Yours is just to study. If you need to work, you only need to do an internship in your field of study, so that maybe after graduation you can be employed by that company. So for you to become competitive, as my colleague have said, you need to have a passport. So before you graduate, apply for a passport. You need to work on your Europa CV. You need to get a motivation, right? You need to get the right reference. And the rest of the information you'll be able to get on the website. But most important, get in touch with alumni or students who have gotten the scholarship so that they can guide you on how to apply. Thank you.
A round of applause, please. Thank you so much, and thank you all for your patience. I would like to offer sincere thanks to Her Excellency, the European Union Ambassador to Kenya, Henrietta Geiger. I'd like to thank the Deputy Governor of Kisumu County, Dr. Matthews Owili. I would like to thank all our panelists. I would like to thank you, the students, yes, of Maseno University, the students of Great Lakes University of Kisumu. I'd like to thank those who came all the way from Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. The Erastus Mundus alumni are here. There's a networking session outside. Our panelists are going to be outside for a few minutes, about 30, maybe even 1 hour, having tea, having coffee, having some refreshments, and speaking to you. I know there are many questions now. It's always the questions that come in at the end. It has been my absolute pleasure. As Olivia Otieno, I'm a communications consultant with the European Union, to moderate and to host you here today at the Sarova Imperial in Kisumu. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful evening.
Malik, hi, what's all this?
It's a roadmap that the Ministry of Energy has drawn up with the support of the European Union.
European Union?
Maria, my sister, I witnessed something extraordinary. A vision of Kenya's future powered by green hydrogen. Picture this, Maria. Our country has an abundance of renewable energy sources. Geothermal, wind, solar, and they're like the keys to unlocking a cleaner, brighter future. Renewable energy to power our homes, schools, and even our industries without the harmful emissions. But there's something even more incredible that they can do. Green hydrogen, Maria. It is the building block for a brighter future. And we can create it using our abundant renewable energy, energy to fuel heavy industries, long-distance transportation, and more, all without a trace of planet-destroying emissions. Our farms can thrive like never before. We can use green hydrogen to produce clean fertilizer right here. Made in Kenya fertilizer, tailored for our soil, boosting our yields and securing our food production. Imagine a Kenya where fields stretch as far as the eye can see, powered by our own energy, our own innovation. More importantly, green hydrogen means new jobs, investments, opportunities for our youth and future generations. In the next 10 years, my sister, we're looking at over 25,000 jobs, over $1 billion of investment, and a chance for Kenya to shine.
I now understand. I see our beloved country Kenya leading the way to a cleaner, more prosperous world.
Together, Maria, we'll make this future real. Green hydrogen isn't just a dream, it's the path to a brighter tomorrow.
Hii climate change tunaisikia, tunaisoma ni nini?
Tuna expecting maybe August kunafaa kuwe na solar.
Sasa unapata baridi ndio imetuchapa.
Imewa affect aje?
It's unpredictable. Hauko sure kama kutanyesha ama hakutanyesha.
Tumekuwa na drought for the whole year.
How different and how affected do you feel sisi wase wenye wanaishi mtaa tuko affected na climate change?
Ukienda kwa Rivese unapata it's a river full of dust and plastics.
Kiwaka sana nyumba pia ikaliki, inabidi watu wote wakae pale nje. Na pia kuna time kakinyesha pia tena ni stress kwa sababu lazima ujitafutie kona gani yenye inyeshi pia.
Kuna kitu mnafanya hapa kumitigate hizi effects za climate change? Ni nini mnafanya hapa?
Waste management kile tunafanya garbage collection, tunafanya door to door. Tuna ensure that the community wana dispose their waste at a right place na at a right way.
Tuko na programs za kupanda miti mtaani.
Wase wetu wa understand nini na happen na climate change. So lazima tu break down na lugha mtaa.
Kama kuna mtu amesikia maneno ya green economy,
to make dough out of the environment.
Kiria ukiangalia hii green economy unaona opportunities za wera ziko wapi? Ni wapi mboka iko?
Kuna wale wenye wanachambua plastics, wanachambua chuma alafu wanaenda wanauza.
So tukakaa chini, tukakamna machine, tukaijenga wenyewe. So tuna make panels out of the machine. Na hiyo machine bado tuko na waste bins, tuko na kabati, tuko na chairs, tunazijenga out of the polythene papers. Yeah.
Ni challenges gani mnapitia?
Takataka iko na madhara fulani unaona. But kama unajua kenye unapata kutoka kwa takataka ama impact unamekea watu kutoka kwa takataka. So zijalisho kuna madhara fulani. Mara tena kuna jina kama tunaitwa machokora.
Watu wengine bado tu wanatupa takataka. Wanatupa takataka kwa mtaa lakini tunachukuanga.
Protective gears inakuwa ni shida.
What do you envision when you say we want us to have a greener future?
Mimi naona community ikiwa disease free.
Si lazima mtu atupe plastic kwa mtaro.
Malik, hi, what's all this?
It's a roadmap that the Ministry of Energy has drawn up with the support of the European Union.
European Union?
Maria, my sister, I witnessed something extraordinary. A vision of Kenya's future powered by green hydrogen. Picture this, Maria. Our country has an abundance of renewable energy sources. Geothermal, wind, solar, and they're like the keys to unlocking a cleaner, brighter future. Renewable energy to power our homes, schools, and even our industries without the harmful emissions. But there's something even more incredible that they can do. Green hydrogen, Maria. It is the building block for a brighter future. And we can create it using our abundant renewable energy to fuel heavy industries, long-distance transportation, and more, all without a trace of planet-destroying emissions. Our farms can thrive like never before. We can use green hydrogen to produce clean fertilizer right here. Made in Kenya fertilizer, tailored for our soil, boosting our yields and securing our food production. Imagine a Kenya where fields stretch as far as the eye can see, powered by our own energy, our own innovation. More importantly, green hydrogen means new jobs, investments, opportunities for our youth and future generations. In the next 10 years, my sister, we're looking at over 25,000 jobs, over $1 billion of investment, and a chance for Kenya to shine.
I now understand. I see our beloved country Kenya leading the way to a cleaner, more prosperous world.
Together, Maria, we'll make this future real. Green hydrogen isn't just a dream, it's the path to a brighter tomorrow.
Hii climate change tunaisikia, tunaisoma ni nini?
Tuna expecting maybe August kunafaa kuwe na solar. Sasa unapata baridi ndio imetuchapa.
Imewa affect aje?
It's unpredictable. Hauko sure kama kutanyesha ama hakutanyesha.
Tumekuwa na drought for the whole year.
How different and how affected do you feel sisi wase wenye wanaishi mtaa tuko affected na climate change?
Ukienda kwa Rivese unapata it's a river full of dust and plastics.
Kiwaka sana nyumba pia ikaliki, inabidi watu wote wakae pale nje. Na pia kuna time kakinyesha pia tena ni stress kwa sababu lazima ujitafutie kona gani yenye inyeshi pia.
Kuna kitu mnafanya hapa kumitigate hizi effects za climate change. Ni nini mnafanya hapa?
Waste management kile tunafanya garbage collection, tunafanya door to door. Tuna ensure that the community wana dispose their waste at a right place na at a right way.
Tuko na programs za kupanda miti mtaani.
Wase wetu wa understand nini na happen na climate change. So lazima tu break down na lugha mtaa.
Kama kuna mtu amesikia maneno ya green economy,
to make dough out of the environment.
Kiria ukiangalia green economy unaona opportunities za wera ziko wapi? Ni wapi mboka iko?
Kuna wale wenye wanachambua plastics, wanachambua chuma alafu wanaenda wanauza.
So tulikama tukakaa chini tukakamna machine tukaijenga wenyewe. So tuna make panels out of the machine. Na hiyo machine bado tuko na waste bins, tuko na kabati, tuko na chairs, tunazijenga out of the polythene papers. Yeah.
Ni challenges gani mnapitia?
Takataka iko na madhara fulani unaona. But kama unajua kenye unapata kutoka kwa takataka ama impact tunamekea watu kutoka kwa takataka. So zijalisho kuna madhara fulani. Mara tena tuko na jina kama tunaitwa machokora.
Watu wengine bado tu wanatupa takataka. Wanatupa takataka kwa mtaa lakini tunachukuanga.
Protective gears inakuwa ni shida.
What do you envision when you say we want us to have a greener future?
Mimi naona community ikiwa disease free.
Si lazima mtu atupe plastic kwa mtaro.
Malik, hi, what's all this?
It's a roadmap that the Ministry of Energy has drawn up with the support of the European Union.
European Union?
Maria, my sister, I witnessed something extraordinary. A vision of Kenya's future powered by green hydrogen. Picture this, Maria. Our country has an abundance of renewable energy sources. Geothermal, wind, solar, and they're like the keys to unlocking a cleaner, brighter future. Renewable energy to power our homes, schools, and even our industries without the harmful emissions. But there's something even more incredible that they can do. Green hydrogen, Maria. It is the building